Welcome everyone. So this is the USMLE Sarthi monthly webinar, and topic for today, as you can imagine, is the current application season 2022, specifically the supplemental ERAS application. This is something new that has come up, and we wanted to make sure that applicants are aware of what it is and the purpose behind it and how well to do this. So supplemental ERAS application is something that we'll cover today. And also we got some questions on LORs. So how to get the best LOR. So we'll go over that as well. But starting with the supplemental ERAS application, what is this? So this is something new that has come up this season, and the intent is that the programs are able to identify a better fit of the applicants. So the programs know applicants who are genuinely interested in their program, and also the programs can show their interest and experiences better to the program. So you could think of it as just expanding on the ERAS application and finding a better mutual fit between the program and the applicants. This ERAS supplemental application has 4 sections. One is past experiences. The other one is the geographic information. So you can actually indicate the US geographical region if you are interested in. Then there is preference signaling. So you can signal directly to the programs if you are interested in those specific programs. And finally, there is work preferences, which is optional. From an IMG perspective, obviously, internal medicine is part of it. So internal medicine programs, both categorical and preliminary, are going in for the supplementary application. And then there is general surgery as well. There is dermatology for those of you who are interested. Now, when is this going to get started? So there are 2 windows for this supplemental ERAS application. One is you can fill it up starting September 1st through September 19th, and the participating programs will get it on September 29th. So that coincides with the day 1 of your ERAS submission. So if you are interested, we highly encourage you to do it so that the programs get it with your ERAS application on 29th in case you are applying on day 1. So that is one. And then the second window is if you apply between September 20th and September 30th, if you fill in this application between those 10 days, then the programs get it on October 6th. So beyond September 30th, so far as we know, there is no provision to submit it. Now, the next question is, do you need to submit it for all programs? And the answer is no, you only need to complete the application only once. And the AAMC will share your responses to the questions with participating programs to which you have applied. So you just need to do it once. Now, again, going to the supplemental ERAS application section, there are these sections and we can talk more about it. One is the past experiences, mostly building on your ERAS experiences, most meaningful experiences. That is what they want. Designed to showcase your journey to the residency and highlight the experiences which you may think are particularly meaningful. So for example, COVID experience, a lot of IMGs have had COVID experiences. Those could be part of it. And they want up to 5 experiences that you think have been the most important as part of your journey. And of course, there is no duration on when these could have occurred. They could have occurred during the medical school, even before that. For most of the IMGs, it will be medical school or later. And it can be a variety of experiences. It can be work, research, volunteer, clinical experiences. And what you need to do is to be able to describe why each experience was most meaningful and how did it impact your journey of residency. Of course, you will have the opportunity to highlight any other impactful experiences. And the word limit for these past 5 experiences is 300 characters. And the other impactful experiences is, I think, 750 characters. But that's one part. The other part, which I think many of you will find slightly confusing or have questions that we've gotten, one is the geographical preferences. So you can now indicate the geographical location, quote unquote, the divisions that they have identified if you are interested in those. So, for example, you are a native of California, you may want to indicate that region, the Pacific or the Pacific Northwest. You can select up to 3 divisions, 3 geographic divisions. And of course, if you do not have or don't wish to communicate any preference, that's fine. And a lot of IMGs will not have that preference. Okay, so now the next question is, who is actually notified about your geographic preference? So if you indicate a geographic division, your preference for that division will only be shared with all programs in that division that you applied to. So that is important. If you have 1 division preference or 2 or 3, all programs that you applied to in that division will know your preference. And your preference for that division will not be shared with program outside that division. So if you select something on the Northeast or East Coast or Midwest, the California programs will not be shared that information. Of course, if you indicate that do not have any division preference, that will be shared with all programs across that you have not indicated any division preference. So it depends on how you want to play this. If you have no preference, I think that'll be the best kind of scenario. But you may have done rotations in certain programs, you may have family ties with the region, and in that case, it may make sense. The next important thing is the preference signaling. And the goal here, of course, is to provide, if you have genuine interest in a program, you can signal to them. So internal medicine, for example, you can signal up to 5 categorical programs that you are interested in them, 5 preliminary if you want, and same with general surgery. And in most cases, if you have to analyze whether you are a fit, whether your profile matches with that program. And of course, if you have done either rotations there, if you have other connections in the program, you may have spouse in the program, then it really, really makes sense to signal the programs. Okay. So briefly, this is where the supplemental ERAS application is. And we now wanted to, let me just open up for questions to see if you have any. There seem to be many questions, so I'll just go over those, and then we'll talk about LORs. So is observerships in hospitals open? Many of our rotations in hospital are open. It depends on where you are trying to get these rotations. So we have hands-on in Chicago, we've seen open. New York is opening up. Detroit is opening up. And so some have definitely started to open up. And I do see Dr. Reddy from our panel has joined. So he's going to answer your questions on 2024 accreditation. We have gotten a lot of questions on that. And, that's a big issue that is coming up. How will it impact the future applicants? So you should be eligible, as Dr. Reddy is saying, already in medical school. If you are there, just complete the form 186 and the process right now. Okay, next question. When will our research course begin? Yes, we are starting it in September. But remember that our research course, the next batch, is going to cater to the next math season, because starting in September, you cannot really publish anything by September 29th or October. So we have your information if you have submitted that form, and we will be in touch very soon. So what else? I think Dr. Reddy is answering the questions on Form 186. And so I'll just leave those. What else? I graduated in March 2020. will be 2 years past YOG or 2.5 or 3. So if you graduated in 2020 March, and if you are applying now, you are applying in 2022. So it depends. Most programs will consider you a 2, but there is no hard and fast rule. Some programs will consider the start of the residency, which is July. So it depends on that. Fresh graduates typically 1 to 2 years from the September when you are applying. Okay, other questions. Graduated 5 years ago, last 3 years participated only in research in my country and US, good scores, chances of getting into IM. So the chances also depend on the clinical experiences. So if you've only participated in research, now if you have research at top US institutes, that will be good. But if you have only been working in the home country in research, it becomes a bit tricky. Try to get home country clinical experience, try to get USE, and if you have good scores, you will have a good shot. Will we be adding anesthesiology observership soon? We are trying, and as you know, our model is we connect you directly with the physicians. If those physicians come back and if we can get some good pricing for you, we definitely will. We don't want to be charging you 2,500 or 3,000 or 4,000 for these rotations. So we are very careful when we get some of these. But we are trying. MD in India, where to mention in IRAS CV? You definitely want to mention it in the experiences section, of course, and you can see if in the education or higher education, it picks that up, but definitely mention it in experience, in the work experience for sure. Next question, Canoner, does USMLE Saarthi have a program from which first years can be guided into? We are getting a lot of requests and we are expanding our team. Definitely something we will do in the coming few months as soon as this season gets over after 29 September. We have plans to help first year, second year MBBS students for sure. So Preetham is asking, I have some relatives who will probably get into medical school in 2024 and after, and they want to get started or will be in the USMLE process. How does the process, after 2024 work for them? Well, we just have to wait, and hopefully, if this is regarding the Indian authorities, maybe we can petition them. There could be other things that can be done, but I can see why this concern about future applicants. It's a very legitimate concern that Indian applicants may not be eligible, at least for some short duration, till the authorities wake up. The whole cost required to get matched an OBGYN. So we have a video on the total end cost for the exams and rotations. So you can take a look. It is on our YouTube channel on how that works. I don't think OBGYN would be that different. Of course, the rotations and such experiences that you may get may change the cost a bit, but we have a video on our YouTube channel regarding the total cost of the journey. Manoj, thank you for your, saying that our team is giving very good guidance. We are happy to help. So Himanshu is asking, applying in 2024, where new rules will come into play. I think Dr. Reddy already covered it. So look up the chat and you should have no issues. Studying for 6 months for a step is considered gap. Good question. What exactly is a gap? So I do want to cover this. What exactly is a gap? Gap is when you're not doing anything clinical. So yes, studying for 6 months, if you're not doing anything else, is considered a gap. Our suggestion would be to, if you want to cover this, do something volunteering side by side or something else. But yes, if sitting at home preparing for the exam is a gap, generally 3 to 4 months is okay. That's not considered by the program, but 6, 9 months, 1 year, 2 year definitely is a gap. What to mention in the training section? This is mostly for those of you who may already have a US fellowship or residency in some sorts. That is where training could come in. You can try if you have home country residency. I don't know if it'll pick up. Is it really hard to get matched being an Indian? Doctor and entrepreneur is asking. Well, I think it's very relative. So if you look at the IMG match rate, even if you don't need visa, it's more than 50%, 50 to 53%. Right. So what it means is more than half of you who need visa will get matched. Obviously, there are factors that impact scores, year of graduation, the USC that you have. So there are every year there are a lot of IMGs, especially from India, who get matched. So if you have good scores, if you do electives or USC, match should be easy, especially in some of the IMG specialties. So Mona Lisa is asking, I'm thinking about extending my externship up to next year, September. Will next exam have any impact on this? That unfortunately, I won't know. Maybe Dr. Reddy can talk about the next exam impact on this extension. And Himanshu, eligibility for filling up Form 186. I think Dr. Reddy did a video on our channel, so you can look at it. How can we apply for final year clerkship? So for IMGs, this is as electives. Typically during internship, you can apply. Different programs have different requirements. Some of them are open now. So I think UAB is open. Some of the other programs are open. We do have a separate video on step-by-step how to apply for electives. Of course, many of these programs may not be open yet. There are others on our website that can help you if you need. Question is, if I'm doing volunteer work and doing research which ends in published paper over a course of 6 to 8 months, does that count as a gap? Probably not if you're doing full-time research and can publish. But if you are in a home country, try to get clinical experience. Should I do OET if applying for 2023? We do not know yet of OET status, so best is to wait. Is radiology hard? Preetham is asking. We have done a video with our student on how to match in radiology. Of course, research is important in radiology. Research, good scores will help. US research always helps. Many of our students who match in radiology tend to have home country residency as well. There is alternate pathway to be explored also. Then Krishnan or Sava Krishnan is asking whether MD in India has relevance in the US. It's a very good degree, home country residency. Definitely, if applying to internal medicine or some of the IMG friendly specialties, will definitely help. Is it difficult to get matched with low step scores in 2023? I think it depends on the specialty also you pick and the relevant experience. So it all depends on that. Is a 2-year-old university LOR good or recent home country LOR? I think content makes a lot of difference. So possibly a 2-year university LOR out of 4, if you're allowed 4. So you can use that. Home country LOR, unless you are a very recent graduate or have done a residency, tends to be not that impactful. Age 40, possibility of getting into IM. I think 40 is still a good age. High scores always are liked by IM and USCE. I'm done with step 1 OET CK in 3rd week of September. Am I late for this year's match? You should still try depending on the score, and otherwise you may get some interviews. Of course, as we keep saying, for the best results apply on day 1, which is 29th. Can we get videos on getting into very niche programs like integrated surgery as a fresh IMGs? Yes, we will try. Like I said, maybe October, November would be the time when we'll get to those. What is a good number of interviews for match? Again, there are some data from NRMP. We have seen 3 to 5 in internal medicine is a good number for our students. How would program directors use LORs to find whether it's from a tele-rotation or hands-on? That's an excellent question. Many students or many LORs do not mention tele-rotations, and some of the tele-rotations actually are even as powerful as the on-site rotations, where you are assigned patients, you do the total patient management, you access EMR remotely. If you can get into some of those tele-rotations, I think it's a moot point, it won't matter. But otherwise, of course, most tele-rotations tend to be didactic focused. The programs can kind of guess, or they can ask you. If you look up our website, we have certain rotations in Detroit which are absolutely fantastic in terms of giving you the same access as on-site rotations. Thank you very much, Doctor and Entrepreneur, saying that we inspire you. So that's always our goal, to help all IMGs. So thank you. Yusra is asking how to get to US research. Well, one of the best ways to get US research is to directly contact the faculty at top programs, Mayo, Hopkins, Harvard. That is the best way. Customize your emails, look up their research profile. It takes time, but you can get it. If not, then of course, we also run research programs, but getting a direct US research, as we always say, is very powerful. MD in pathology, kindly mention. So if you have MD in pathology, you will have an excellent chance in pathology residency, Krishnan. Frex is asking, does research matter less if it is done with peers and local specialist doctors? It's, if you have already published, looks like in PubMed Index Journal, which is fine. Of course, there is a hierarchy, right? So I don't think without looking into the content, we can say what is less important, more important. But yes, PubMed Index Journal is a very good benchmark. If you've done it, congratulations, it is excellent. Can I use private US LOR? I'm assuming a clinic LOR instead of home country LOR. So Hansi, it also depends on the content of the LOR. In general, US LORs are more powerful than the home country LOR. Is 2-year gap in the CV bad? It is. It will show up. I won't say it's bad or good. There are other factors. If you have good scores, a lot of community programs will overlook the gaps. How can we cover it up? That is a tough part. Going back into history, covering it up. If you can show some volunteer work or something else, I think that would be the best way to cover it up. But remember, anything on your ERAS CV will be open to questions. They can ask you any question on each line of the CV. And then if you cannot justify it, it becomes harder. With the upcoming year, what is considered as a non-traditional student? So I don't know for an IMG, what is a non-traditional student? I mean, most IMGs, have been able to get their degrees in time and all that. I do not know the answer. If Dr. Reddy knows it, I think he will type. I don't know the answer. What is a IMG non-traditional student? Free electives and availability updates. That's a very good question, Mona Lisa. We are thinking of opening up a portal where we will make this available. So that is something we have gotten a lot of requests about, these free electives, opening up a community where we do have, by the way, for those of you who are interested, we've started a podcast channel. We have our Instagram, of course. We have a Telegram group, so please join those. That's where we kind of update on a regular basis. Podcast is very new. Most of you are on YouTube, which is fine, but some of you who may want to download these things, podcast is there as well. We've just started it. Which specialty is better with low step scores, pediatrics or pathology? Depends on your experiences as well. If you're just asking in terms of scores alone, then pathology. Safe score for step 2 to match into IM once step 1 becomes pass fail. So obviously, when step 1 becomes pass fail, we won't, we'll have a new set of data to look at. At this point, the safe score, kind of good score for CK at this point is 240 plus for a visa seeking IMG, and it keeps going up. ABCD, what a good screen name, is asking, how long in advance should I secure a place? 3 months in advance for rotations. If you're asking our rotations, October through March is a relatively easy period, because the season has just ended. So even with a 1 month lag, we can get you in. And then it starts to get heavy, starting June. That's where you need 3 to 4 months. Can working as medical scribe be considered a USCE? Maroon is asking. It is definitely work experience, probably not USCE. Mona Lisa, if you're asking about the telerotation, which has patient interaction, EMR access, that is open in October and beyond, go to our website and you can filter each rotation by specialty, by location, which is the state. So if you go for Detroit or Michigan, you will see these rotations where we work with a physician to provide EMR access, patient management, complete end-to-end. And we are also working with them on accommodation. If you are there in Detroit, you can. Preetham is asking, does med school name matter for match? And the answer is yes. Some of these schools are very well known, but the good thing is a lot of schools are on the same kind of platform. But yes, med school names, because they have a lot of alumni base. So AIMS, for example, Aga Khan in Pakistan, Lady Harding, Maulana Azad, Gandhi Medical. These are some schools, Kasturba, Manipal, some schools which have a very strong alumni base, and the programs have obviously been impressed by those alumni, so they keep calling from the same program. So in that sense, it does. But a lot of programs, it doesn't mean that you will not match if you're not from these colleges. Okay. SBN DL is asking, I'm 40 now. Is it okay to start the USMLE route? And the answer is yes. You can, you should. We have had 60 plus years of people match. They are in the match right now. They've matched. It just depends on how passionate you are, and of course, good scores, and balancing it with other family commitments. What is the most ideal time to purchase USMLE Sarathi's Platinum Plan, Ashwin? It generally between December. So let's say you're applying in September 2022. I would say anytime between December of 2021 and April, May of 2022 would be a good time. After that, it is not worth it, because mentorship, we need time to work with you. How much will my interviews be effective if I apply September 29 but get certified by October 10 to 14? So certification is, we we think it is important, but it may not be the deal breaker. I think if you have good scores, that should take you through. Keep communicating with the program, you will be good to go. You don't control certification, don't worry about it, apply on day one. What is the YOG for March 2020? So if you graduated in March 2020, most of the programs will consider you recent graduate 1 year. Okay, let me, surgical assistant, is that a USCE? Yes, so any kind of, medical assistant, surgical assistant can be considered a USCE. Obviously, it depends on the profile, but yes, in most cases it is. Krishnan is asking, can I upload a US LOR 5 years or dating back 5 years? I think that'll be too old. I don't think a 5-year-old LOR will have a value. Rishi Chaudhary is asking, does a volunteer experiences need a certificate? The answer is no. Talking about experiences is sufficient. And by the way, we cover this in our interview classes. This is a very important topic. How do you talk about your volunteering, your hobbies, to be able to make an impact? These things don't get you the interview, but once you get the interview, how do you communicate your volunteering experiences, your hobby as part of the 10 to 15 minutes is very important. Certificates are not needed, but how you articulate it is important. What is considered a gap in the CV? I answered it. Any gap from clinical practice or, if you're not doing full-time research is a gap. Can I get a Telegram link? I think, yeah, Dr. Reddy can post it. We have 2 Telegram groups. One is if you're preparing for STEP exam, the other for the match. And once this video goes live, you will see that link here as well. What else? Can I request LOR from my telerotation doctor 2 weeks before September 29th if I apply to one of those through Sarthi? If you are doing it in September, yes, we are in communication with our preceptors to get you the LORs on time. So, but let them know within the week 1 that you will need it if you're starting in September. What is better, hands-on rotation or research? Most cases, hands-on rotation will beat research. Most cases, USCE is always more important. Research is good to have, but also depends on the quality of research. Even if you're doing it at Hopkins or Harvard, I think some USCE will always be needed. Postdoc and research for competitive residencies, is it worth it? Should we? Definitely, if you are looking into general surgery, for example, or any of anesthesia and all that, yes, the research jobs are definitely important. Can I switch from MD pathology? I've already done, looks like you've done MD pathology and you want MD internal medicine. It is hard, but doable. The question is, you have been doing MD pathology, probably if you have work experience, that will be a slightly trickier thing to convince the programs, but can be done. Yes, Kenonor, we do have a lot of IMGs who have done their med school in the Philippines, in Russia, in China. So yes, we get now IMGs from 22 different countries med schools. So Preetham is asking, are our services available in future? Yes, they are. We start every year. Absolutely, our packages are available. My graduated this summer, already did step 1. Is it good if I apply for 2022 or better to get more experience and apply for 2023? Scores are important. And if you're a recent graduate, if you can get step 2 CK as soon as possible, but you got to balance it. If you want to apply late this season, that'll be fine. You may get some interviews. But I think we do have a video that Dr. Reddy did, or I think I did, I don't remember, on the entire journey in terms of the timeline. So look at that, because that may help you. Is there a score where we can expect non-US IMGs very safe to match into anesthesia or IM? So score just provides an indication, right? So let's say 240 plus, right? Excellent scores if you have 240 plus in both specialties, or for both steps in anesthesia or IM. Is that a sure shot? No, because there are other things. There is your USC, there is your interview prep. All that will matter, but I think 240 plus is a good starting point. Can I apply with part 1 in September and CK results loaded in late October? You can apply. I doubt you will get interviews without CK. So that's a question. I'm 29 to 30-year-old. Can I apply for surgical residency? Absolutely. Especially if you have home country experience in surgery, you have good scores, maybe worth a shot. Can I use OET scores instead of TOEFL for universities requiring TOEFL? I'm assuming this is elective. We don't know yet. So you got to check with those universities. What relevance does ECFMG 2023-24 accreditation have on Indian students? I think we've answered it. So if you scroll up the chat, Dr. Reddy has answered it. Is duration of med school taken into consideration? Sunny is asking, and I think we've answered it in many other webinars, which is basically if you are from India and you took more than 5.5 years, programs they can see it. Now, whether they consider it as a red flag, hard to say. They should all be okay with up to 6 to 9 months of gaps. Then it depends. Bola is asking, how difficult is it to get ophthalmology ophtha in US? It is very, very hard. Even if you have a home country residency in ophtha, I think the best would be to come here, do full-time research with some physicians, with the department in ophtha, and try it. Otherwise, it becomes very hard. Completing step 3 before applying, is it worth it? It depends on where you are with the other parts, step 1, CK, USC. It is definitely worth if you have the time. USC 2 years prior to the match season, will there be any effect on match? No, 2 years should be fine. Are there any university telerotations? And there are. We actually have a direct telerotation with UCSD. Dr. Reddy helped us set it up. So yes, there are. We have, and when you can get your own, I think University of Miami also has something, but we have a direct telerotation at University of California, San Diego. I'm applying for 23-24 season. Will take step 1 pass fail. Some people have a score. Will they have an advantage over me? So if they have a good score, 250s, 260s, that score will be counted. And I think programs know that that's a good score. So yes, they may have an advantage. So now, I think I covered all the questions. Let me just briefly go over some of the other things as we wrap up, because we have received a lot of questions on LOR. So what is an impactful LOR? How can I get it? Obviously, LORs are very important. In most cases, it'll be a US LOR, from, like I covered, from a physician or researcher. If you have home country LOR, should be a recent graduate, home country residency, or if you're top 1% as a recent graduate, that is still acceptable. The other question we get, can I get LORs from anyone? And the answer is the recommender should know you well professionally. It should come across that they work closely with you, they've observed you with the patient, vouch for you, so on. Then the other question we get is, what is an average LOR? What is a bad LOR? So there's no average, or there is not a bad LOR, but there is any LOR which is very brief, cryptic, half a paragraph. is a very average, non-impactful LOR. If it is generic without citing any specific examples, would be a very bad LOR, or a very average LOR, which is not worth. If you got it from someone you really haven't worked with, obviously that's not an impactful LOR. Most students who write their own LOR do not do justice to it, so it's not a good idea in most cases. We of course advise against it, but understand that sometimes that is you cannot have any other way. Home country LORs, like I mentioned, is not a good idea in most cases. Unwaived LOR, absolutely no. Always use wave LOR. Always make sure that there are no grammar errors, typos, etc. in the LOR. Now, in this season, of course, or the last season, home country LORs were very prevalent, will be very prevalent if it is COVID related. So that may be an exception. But in general, home country LORs are not something that programs like. Okay, now let me see if we have other questions before we wrap up. Which is the most time to expect interviews? Is it correct that most interviews come in the first week? Not necessarily. This season, for example, the deadline or the day one is September 29th. I think you will expect interviews in waves. So October would be when you get the maximum interviews. Then it'll slow down towards middle of November. It could pick up again in January with cancellations. After 15 December through end of December is a light period. So expect interviews in October and first 15 days of November to be the maximum. IMSEL email to all programs. This is not something that we think is important. This is replacing a home country like of a letter. You can decide. We don't think SEL is important. This is. I'm graduating 2024. When should I get the platinum plan? I think in the season that you are applying. So let's say September 2024, if you are applying, and then in December 2023. What else? So we already answered question on step 1, pass fail compared to the 3-digit score. Waived or unwaived LOR, as I already answered, it can never be unwaived. It always has to be a waived LOR. Is it possible for IMGs to get into surgical residency directly after med school? Yes, of course, it is possible. We've had students always try for it. They get into it. I think good score and US research goes a long way if you have to apply for residency in any surgical specialty. Without that, it becomes harder. Okay. All right, so that was all that we had. Thank you very much again for your support, for subscribing to our YouTube channel. We have a Facebook group also, and we are always regularly taking your feedback into account. So how do we make a more inclusive platform? How do we open up some of our platforms to students, like the rotations list? And also we are all working on it. We are working on getting you better housing deals if you are on-site rotations. Some of those things we are working on, opening up some of our program lists for you. So stay tuned, and we will be in touch. And good luck for your match. Thank you, everyone.